Welcome to Scary Legends. My name is Ehsan Elam, and I am your guide into the world of horror, mystery, and supernatural tales. On this channel, I bring you spine-chilling stories from the darkest corners of imagination and reality. Whether it's eerie urban legends, ghostly encounters, or ancient folklore, my mission is to keep you on the edge of your seat. Prepare yourself for tales that will send shivers down your spine and make you question the world around you. Subscribe to Scary Legends and join me as we uncover the secrets of the unknown, one terrifying story at a time. Are you ready to face your fears? The Shadow in the Mirror. Sarah had always been drawn to the old Victorian house her grandmother left her. Nestled in a quiet countryside village, it stood like a forgotten monument of another era. Tall windows, heavy wooden doors, and a vast garden surrounded the house. But what intrigued Sarah most was the living room mirror. This mirror was no ordinary piece of furniture. Its golden frame was adorned with carvings of ivy and roses, and its surface shimmered even in the faintest light. Her grandmother used to tell her stories about it. Stories Sarah dismissed as the ramblings of an old woman. "You must never cover it," her grandmother once said, "and never ever try to move it." Sarah laughed at the memory as she unpacked her belongings. She loved her grandmother, but she didn't believe in ghosts or curses. The house was hers now, and she planned to renovate it to her liking. On her first night in the house, Sarah noticed the silence. It wasn't peaceful, it was oppressive, like the house was holding its breath. She brushed off the feeling and went to bed. At 2:34 a.m., she woke up to a faint tapping sound. It was rhythmic, deliberate, and coming from downstairs. She hesitated, her heart pounding in her chest, but curiosity got the better of her. When she reached the living room, the mirror caught her eye. The surface rippled as though it were made of liquid. She stood frozen, staring at her reflection. But it wasn't her reflection. The figure in the mirror was smiling, and Sarah wasn't. She blinked, and the image was gone. The next morning, Sarah called her best friend Emily and told her what had happened. Emily, ever the skeptic, laughed. "You're just stressed," Emily said. "That house is old. Maybe you heard the wind or something." Sarah tried to believe her, but deep down, she knew something was wrong. Over the next few days, the tapping became more frequent. It wasn't just at night anymore. It happened at random times, always drawing her to the mirror. Each time she saw the same dark figure staring back at her. One night, Sarah decided to confront it. She stood in front of the mirror, her hands trembling. "What do you want?" she whispered. The figure tilted its head, its hollow eyes locking onto hers. "Leave," it said, its voice echoing as if it came from the depths of the house. Sarah stumbled back, her mind racing. She grabbed a heavy blanket and covered the mirror, determined to ignore it. But the next morning, the blanket was neatly folded on the floor. Things escalated quickly. Doors slammed shut on their own, cold spots appeared in random places, and Sarah began to hear whispers when she was alone. She called Emily again, begging her to visit. When Emily arrived, she laughed at Sarah's fear. "Let me see this haunted mirror," she said, rolling her eyes. The moment Emily stepped into the living room, her expression changed. She stared at the mirror, her face pale. "Do you see it?" Sarah asked. Emily nodded slowly. The figure was there, clearer than ever. Its smile was wider, its eyes darker. "We need to leave," Emily said, grabbing Sarah's arm. "But this is my house." "Not anymore," Emily said firmly. They fled to Emily's apartment and stayed up all night researching the house. They discovered that the mirror was an antique from the 1800s, rumored to trap the souls of those who looked into it too long. Sarah decided she needed to get rid of the mirror. The next day, she hired a local handyman to remove it. But when they returned to the house, the mirror was gone. The wall where it had hung was empty, except for deep claw marks that ran from the ceiling to the floor. Sarah sold the house within a week and moved to the city. But the story doesn't end there. Months later, while unpacking in her new apartment, she heard the familiar tapping. It was coming from the bathroom. Her blood ran cold as she opened the door. The mirror above the sink shimmered, and there it was, the figure smiling wider than ever.